Let's see how we can build browser AI agents. We have a playground we can play around with where we can go into different websites, have the AI agent navigate around, extract different types of information. So let's say that you want to have some automation workflow up and running, you want to scrape a website, structure it into structured output so you can use it in your applications and projects that you're doing. So this is what we're going to build in this video here. We're going to play around with some playground stuff. I'm going to show you in code how we can set it up as well so we can have our own browser AI agent. So let's just jump straight into it. I've opened up Hyperbrowser's website here. So this is what we're going to use to build our browser AI agent. It's lightning fast, like it will spin up in no time. It will take seconds and you have your browser agents up and running. You have the API calls going back and forth. I'm going to show you everything step by step. So we can see startup time here is less than 500 milliseconds, 10 million plus sessions, and 5 million plus pages scraped. So these are some of the things that you can build, as I mentioned in the introduction: browser automation, data extractions, AI agent operations. It can actually go in and take actions. It can handle captchas. It also has stealth browsing mode and anti-detection options, but make sure that if you're using these bots here, if there's any site with restrictions or anything, make sure to adhere to those. Session management, everything is covered, so let's just jump straight into it. First of all, we're just going to start inside the Hyperbrowse app here, the web app, where we can play around with the playground. We can see the different AI agents. We're going to set up one with Claude Code as well, where we can connect all these things together, and then Claude Code basically just has access to the browser. You can go in and scrape news articles here. You can do some research. You can put it into your application, you generate newsletters based on what you have scraped, for example. Tons of different options out there. So playground here on the left side, this is basically just so you can see what's going on. If you go into the browser, if you have a scraper, it could be a crawler, extract information from a web browser as well. You can just run it. So if you run the browser, we have the code here. You can always copy paste that into your own application. After that, we're going to take a look at some sessions, and the main part is the agents. How do we actually set up our own agent from the API? So here, for example, we just open up React's GitHub repository and make sure one thing: when you're setting up AI agents, doing any AI engineering, anything, make sure to always have a good cup of coffee. So right now it's running in the browser here. We can see all the levels. It's basically just extracting all the HTML, and this is also what they use. There's different tools, integrations like Puppeteer, Playwright, Selenium, all these different tools as well. And SDKs, which can go in and crawl the website. So it can take actions. It can, for example, take the code button here. It can extract information. It can actually click on that one, extract information inside of that one. Could go into multiple steps. So you can set up full AI agent automation workflows in your browser. So this is some pretty cool ones. I've already built a lot of projects for clients, customers, and also just personal projects where we're scraping different websites for news articles, pulling them down, using them for something, but also just automating some workflows that you're doing on a daily basis. A lot of people, they work in browsers, doing different tools. Maybe you have your own software system, your own web app. Then you can also set up automation workflows where an AI agent actually just has access to that. So the browser, you can play around the browser. There's also the scrape on a URL. So we can scrape a website URL, could be news articles or something. You could have a crawler as well. Going through crawler, you can set up the different settings, how many pages, then you can have it crawling into different actions. It can take actions based on that. There's also extractions. So extractions is basically just structured output, and this is the main one that I'm using because I usually just want to go to a website, extract structured output, just as if you're doing like with a large language model, because when we have a structured output at JSON format, that's basically just how all APIs work out there. We can set up APIs with our extractions, with our structured output, send it to other different types of systems, and then build out a backend system, API-based system that does work automation. So workflow automation is a very cool use case for this one. We're going to see some examples. Let's go in and grab a URL. So here, let's see, we can just go in and enter URL. So here in Y Combinator, we have some hacker news. I'm just going to copy paste this URL. We will go back again. Now we can go in and extract. So enter a prompt here. I'm just going to speak it out, a very cool tool as well. Like I'm using a lot of audio transcription, basically just to prompt my systems. So I just save way more time because I can speak and explain faster than I can type it out. So here you can extract a schema or a prompt or both. So let's just tell it a schema. So it could just be article. So you can have a specific schema here. So you can have blocks, you can have JSON. So this could be the specific schema. So type an object. We have the properties and also what's required. So let's just try with a prompt here. I want to extract all the titles of the news. We have our blocks. So here we can have like a property name, we can have a string, number, boolean. This is actually like what you can go and extract. So this could, for example, be a string. Let's call it a title. We can go into our JSON. Now we can see we have our required block where we have the title which is required, and that is a string. So let's just try to do this. This is a very basic one. I'm going to paste in the URL again. So let's now run it here, extraction in progress. So it's going to spin up an AI agent with either like Puppeteer, all these different options out there. We can also, so title, hacker, news. So we can actually see this is the title of the website. So it didn't fully understand what was going into it. You can do multi-turn conversation. So for example here, we can go into and add another block, property, string, and then we can have news title. This is a property. We can add multiple properties as well. I want to extract top 10 news from the website. So usually use the playground here. That's why it's so powerful, because this is just API based as well. But before you get into the coding, set up your workflow, set up the extractions in the playground. You just paste in the URL, set up your schema. You can extract the schema from here, and this is what you will paste into your code. So now we have our extraction in progress. So now we have the title, top 10 news from Hacker News, and then news title, get the diagram. We have cognitive load is what matters. Third one, my phone is an e-reader now. My phone is an e-reader. Cognitive load is what matters. Get diagram, the Viv. So this is actually like extracting the news articles now. We can get all information from it. Usually if you go into the HTML pages and all that, you can find the specific keywords that it needs to look for. But yeah, let's see if it actually like extracted top 10. There we go. The top 10 news articles. So now I can then just take my JSON schema, feed it into our code. Another very cool thing is to handle sessions, so you don't have to, like, if for example you log into a website, you can accept cookies. It's gonna save everything in the session. So could be that you need to log into some website. If you keep spinning it up or like navigating between different pages and so on, it will keep that session. You can use proxies, you can solve captchas as well. You can set that on, you can get into stealth mode. You can also just accept cookies. A lot of pages they have pop out where you need to accept a cookie before you can take an action. Let's say that you want to click a button. You can't click that button before you have accepted the cookies. So that's also just a very annoying bug. I have run into that many times before, not figuring out how to solve that if I'm just using Playground out of the box or something like that. Here I could just check it off and it will be solved. So this is very, very cool. And you can do it with the extraction. So this is JSON extractions. You can just have your browser. You can scrape if you have tables or data that you want to scrape. You can use this tool too. We're going to create a playlist with 3 videos. So we're basically just going to cover everything that you can do and how to build AI browser agents and automate workflows as well. And at the end, we're going to build out a project end to end, how we can set everything up. So one of the cool things here is the agent. So you can set up your own agents with Hyperbrowser's API. All these tools here are available. You can also do data extraction. Now let's go inside our documentation and see how we can do it. So if you just jump into the documentation, you can find all of it. I really encourage you, like if you're working with AI agents and so on, it's just important to know how does browsers work, how does the internet work, how the AI agents act, like taking actions, what are they extracting from the website. You need to understand the HTML structure. All these things, like with Hyperbrowser, you don't need to know anything about it, but I still encourage you to really understand what's going on under the hood, or it will just be very hard to solve bugs. So these are the AI agents that we're going to take a look at. Later on, we're going to take a look at MCP support, how we can connect all of these things in the AI agent space together. So for the AI agents, browser use, you can use that open source tool. You can use Claude Computer use, OpenAI, QA, Hyper Agent, all these tools can be used together or are already supported. So here you can see all the web scraping. All we just did in the playground, it's available in the APIs. The playground is just using the APIs, so you just have to build the application around it. Most often you don't really even need a UI, you just need to automate some workflows. So there are some guides here that you can go through, but I'm just going to show you how we can set up an AI agent based on the documentation. So let's use the Claude computer use. It's just going to take like the browser, feed it into Claude. You have the AI agent running through that. I'm going to use Python. We can either use UV or pip. I'm just going to go with pip. You guys are probably mostly familiar with that, but really encourage you to look into UV if you're very serious, or not even if you're serious. It's just much faster, much better, easy to sync environments and dependencies. Often you probably face a lot of dependencies, errors, versions, and so on with pip. UV is trying to solve some of that. So let me just grab this one here. Let's open up a new terminal. I can actually just go inside my code editor directly. Let's create a new script or just start with a terminal. So just have my conda environment. We're just going to pip install our Hyper browser. There we go. I already have it up and running. Just make sure you're on the newest version always. So let's check if we're on done. -- upgrade. We're good to go. Or you could use UV as well. They have some basic Python scripts here. So I'm just going to, you can either have a curl request directly to the API. If you want to use that, you can specify the task and it's going to set everything up automatically. There's also Node if you want to use Node and build out like a proper like front end or back end, just use it directly in your front end, for example. But let's just go with a Python script for now. So browser agent.py. We paste it in. That's all we have to do. Let's go through the code as well. Let's take it the next step. So Claude computer use can be configured with a number of parameters. Let's take a look at the parameters. So we can specify the task. This is just the instructions that we need to feed into our Claude computer use. And if you just search for computer use, it's like you've probably seen OpenAI and all those where they have like the browser that can take actions. It can see what's going on in the screen and all of those. So here it can interact with computer environments through computer use, which provides screenshot capabilities and mouse keyboard control for autonomous desktop and interactions. So it's basically just an AI agent that has access to your screen, your mouse, and your keyboard and can control it in your browser or pretty much in your computer. So this is one option where you can use these large language models as the agent. You can also use Playwright and all those tools where you can extract from the HTML structure. You can extract the buttons, then you can go in and click that button. It's very good if you're just setting up like basic automation workflows, but if you're looking more generic, automatic, future-proof agents, the Claude computer use tool and the other ones are very, very good options. Specify the LLM that we're going to use. Session ID. So this is the browser's session ID to connect instead of creating a new one. So if you reconnect to a session ID, for example, you log into a website you're going to scrape or some other stuff that you're doing in your session, maybe you have some settings, maybe you have some filters or something like that, it's actually like going to save that if you just specify the same session ID, or it's going to create a new one. So we have some maximum failures, maximum steps to take for the interaction for the AI agent to complete the task, keep the browser open, session options, all these things here. You can look into them depending on your use case. The most simple one is just set it up with our API key. So I'll just go back here to my front page overview. I have my API key here. I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to go in here and export into my environment. So you can just export. Let's see what it expects. So Hyper browser API key. I'm just going to copy paste this one here again. There we go. We set that equal to our actual API key that we copy paste from here. I just cleared the environment after putting in my API key. So now let's make it a bit bigger here. Now everything is gonna happen in the code. Let me zoom in. We need to pip install Hyper browser. We just import Hyper browser from Hyper browser. We specify the model. So we're going to use Claude computer use. You can just specify the other ones that they have in the documentation, and you're going to use the other tools. So you have to swap out one line of code. You can do that yourself without a large language model or any agent. And then you have created an AI agent. So I need to specify create an instance of our hobby browser. We have our API key, and I've already exported it into our environment. You can also have an environment file. So for example here, .env, you can specify your API key here, and then it will load that in from your environment. I'm not gonna have that now because I just exported into my terminal for demonstration purposes. That's all we need. So top 5 posts on Hacker News. Let's see if we get the same ones as we got inside our playground. And it's basically just going to spin it up, output, and print the results while the agent is running. So this is everything that we have to do. Let's just start it and see what's going on. So browser-agent.py. Take a second here to spin up. We should be able to see our browser. While it's booting up here the first time, go back into documentation, see if we missed anything. Cloud computer use. Reuse browser session, just paste in the same browser session. You can have multiple here, start and wait. Use your own API keys. So you can use your own API keys to Claude. Session configurations, we should be good to go. Everything is there. So there we go. We got the results out. Let's rerun it here again, just to see how fast it is the second time. So it's going to spin it up. It probably took like 10 seconds or something like that. It spins up the browser, takes the actions, goes to the website, scrapes the information, outputs it here. Right now it's just text to our terminal, but you can actually just grab it here. So response.data.final result. This is what we're going to get back. If you're using the text extraction tool for structured output, you will just get a JSON output here as any other API call out there pretty much. You extract the structured output, then you can pretty much just use that in your own system, whether you're building a single API, building a full workflow automation, maybe just one step in an automation workflow that integrates into some other part of the system. But this is how easy it actually is to connect to the browser. I've created projects in the past where I've set up like Playwright, large language model myself to go in and extract. I looked into all the HTML code, went step by step through the HTML code and all of that, and it's just way more time consuming going in. Okay, I need this specific button here to be pressed by Playwright when I want to take this action or based on the extractions results. So let's say that we go to a page, it extracts the JSON response from that page. Based on that information, we need to go in and click a specific button. Then we click that button, we go into a new page, we extract that information. Here we can set up an AI agent that can do all these steps automatically just by guiding it in the task. So this is pretty cool. Let's take a look at it. Get diagram, the view, cognitive load is what matters. My phone is an e-reader now. So this is the exact same ones as we extracted inside the playground. This is how easy it is to set up. Very easy. Like, definitely go in, play it out. You can try out with the free one. You get everything rolling there. You can try it out for free. Everything will be down in the description, pinned comment, and all. This is cool what you can build in just a few lines of code. We need to set up the SDK here from our documentation. Let's take a look at some of the other things here before wrapping up the video. You can use browser use, OpenAI, CUA, Hyper Agent. Let's take a look at browser use. pip install Hyper Browser. You just specify the API key again. It's the exact same thing. The only difference is start browser use task parameters. It takes in the same parameters. It just uses browser use instead of Cloud computer use. The exact same with OpenAI. The exact same with Hyper Agent here. All you have to do is find a business use case, solve it with your new browser AI agent. You can do it in no time. It takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes max to set up, and you can start play around with it in the playground. So don't spend too much time. You don't have to spend time on the coding part. Spend time in the playground, see what's possible, what capabilities does it have for the project that you're trying to solve or the workflow that you're trying to automate. Just extraction of web scraping. So there's just scrape a website with all the information. We're going to cover this in another video, so make sure, stay tuned, like the video, subscribe to the channel so you'll get a notification when I upload those. But I'm starting to cover way more AI agents, how to set up automated workflows. The code itself is not really that important anymore. We have the large language models, they're very good at generating code. Tons of tools out there that just makes a very high level abstractions. We should still know what's going on under the hood, but it's much more about applying it to real world use cases that provides value. Because if I have some client that has a problem, I can solve it significantly faster now by knowing and using these tools here. Let's say that some client comes to me and says, I want to scrape these different links for news articles, and then I want to generate my own newsletter based on that. Then we can use some other large language model to generate the actual newsletter that can feed into some other system. You can set up cron jobs, like all these things here can run schedule based as well. So you set it up, scrape this website every 24 hours or at midnight. You can imagine all the possibilities here. So just imagine using cron job, schedule at intervals. You can grab as many URLs as you want. You extract information in a structured way that you want. You apply the business logic on top of your extractions. That's all you need to do. Then you can use some other tools to build a cool looking front end on top of it, and you actually have a very good, useful software system. Hope you learned a ton this video here. Make sure to go and check it out. Stay tuned for the next video. We're going to cover how we can build out a full project, some of the other tools with MCP integrations. They have captcha solving, all these things here, all the problems that you usually run into if you're trying to build out your own browser automation tools. Hope you learned a ton. Definitely go in, check it out. Watch the video again if you didn't catch everything. It's so important to just know about these tools when you're building AI agent systems. Like, connect AI agents with browser, with vision capabilities, all the reasoning that they're going to have. And I promise you one thing, the models are the work today. They're only going to get better in the future. Hope you guys in one of the upcoming videos. Until then, happy learning.